everybody, and thanks for stopping by. This is the first in a series of videos related to building Eddie Van Halen related guitars. Now, this first series is Frankie with a Tom Anderson neck on it. And if you can deal with the less than professional audio, I think you'll still get a lot of good info on this guitar, on its creation, its history, and we'll go through some of the myths and speculation and everything else that is Eddie Van Halen guitars. And if you have a guitar that you want to see built, hit me up. Contact me below, leave a message, do something, and I'll get it on the list. The next series after this one is a full 5150 full relic that turned out excellent. But for right now, enjoy this series on Frankie, and you'll see what it takes to build one accurately and to pull it off the best that we can. Thank you for stopping. I'm about ready. This is that template that I was telling you about, and there's two different types. So I wanted to show them both to you. And they print to the exact size of the body. And it shows you exactly where all the exposed wood is. And we can line this up, and we're going to draw little pencil marks to know where these stripes start and end. And we're going to cut a little flap around each one of these. So we can lift it up, put our little silhouette cut vinyl down, and know where each one of these are. And underneath here, this is the red layer and the white layer on top of the black. So we can use that as a reference also. So everything lines up. You got two sets for front and for the back. And this is how we're going to do it. This is how I line up, and everything lines up just right. You can feel right where the neck pocket is, right where the humbucker's route is, and you can see exactly where all these go. I mean, there's the input jack. Everything lines up just right, and this is where the exposed wood is. This is mostly the back right here, but here are the pieces here for the front. If you can see that in the reflection or not. So these right here are the ones that go here and here, but I know that a lot of you probably don't have large format printers, and you don't want to go to FedEx, Kinko's, or Office Max, or Office Depot, or whatever, and have these printed up. So I created a set that fits on 8.5 by 11 paper. And when you cut out right along the black lines, they all piece together to make the exact same thing. Okay? So that's what I did here. I used 4 sheets of 8.5 by 11, and I cut along the lines, put them all together so the lines lined up just right, taped it together, and you can see it fits perfectly over the lock body. And you always have to be flexible, because there's going to be some differences if you don't use a lock body. Say you use a music craft or somebody else. There's going to be slight variances and differences, and you kind of just have to be flexible. But most importantly, if you could draw a line on the back of this route where this humbucker goes, treat this as one large section, this whole area. And you want to do this because a lot of these stripes don't cross over into the other area, and these have to be right. These have to be pretty much dead on to look accurate. So this extra flap allows you to get the exposed wood, stripes, everything else where it needs to go. So right now we're only concerned about where the exposed wood is going to be. I darkened this area because I'm telling you, don't worry about this. Worry about it on the version that's underneath it. Okay, so you only really need this flap right here to do this exposed wood right here. Okay, now we're going to come back, and we're going to use a pencil, and we're going to show where some of these lines go. Unfortunately, there's really none here except for the two black ones underneath. And so what we would do is just make a little mark there and there, and I know that that line goes over when the black is painted, and then we go to tape it up to spray the white. We know that there's a piece of tape that goes between those two lines. Okay, and we also do that for these as well. And we're going to draw one there and one there. And we know that the other one comes at an angle back here, and it goes here and roughly there. And we're going to do that all the way using the top template. And what I do is I just cut out all the little tabs where I'm going to be able to lift this up and put that silhouette cut vinyl. Same with these two. You lift that up, you put it there. You lift this one up, you put that there. You lift this one up, and you can put the big one here, and then when you're all done, come back, and you can eyeball it. You know that there's a couple here with a couple small shapes. Those are all in the silhouette files as well, and they'll go just approximately directly above that piece right there. So, and this piece too. We know that there's going to be an exposed wood there. We got a flap right here for this one. And then of course down at the other end, you've got flaps as well. And you've got a flap here that's pretty much hidden by the tape if you decide to put the double-sided tape on. Okay, and then you've got these here. This is the triplets right there, and we're going to put that there. So, but we also see where all these black stripes are. We're going to mark each one of these, and we're going to get it so that it's dead on every time. Including, you know, it's hard to space these out because some things are at an extreme angle, and these as well. These stripes here are actually ripped pieces of tape. We know that it goes over the body, so it needs to follow through to the back. So we'll do that with all the stripes and everything else. And right now what you're looking at is the finished, you know, the black, then the white, then the red. That's what this graphic is, and I tin it down so I can just look at, I do grayscale so I can look at the exposed wood. And what we're going to do is worry about some of these shapes. These are all proportional. Every single piece and element that you see on every color layer is done in the silhouette, including all of this. In fact, this image is created from those files that are created for the silhouette. So that's exactly what it's going to look like when it's done. The seagull is exactly the right size for the seagull for this template. Same with this shape here, and some of these other ones, this black shape here, and the black marks that are underneath here. The other thing I'm going to do with the template on is I'm going to come in with my drill. Now I use a Dremel where I can put the small drill bit on it, and I'm going to zip down into each one of these little holes. So I left this one right here. I'm going to show you just how easy it is. Okay, so use a razor to apply these. It keeps the adhesive from coming off on your finger, but it also allows you to control it better. Okay, so that is that exact shape right there, size and everything. I can put this and orientate it right over top of where it is on the picture. Then just lift up the little flap and place it right where it needs to go. Push down. And now you've got it. And I've done that to really all of these. Even this little guy here. Now this would have been easy to scrape with a razor. This little wishbone thing. But I went ahead and filled in where the exposed wood is. And I've done that all the way around. Down here. Then I did the spots up here, the three sisters. There's a large piece right here. It goes there. And then I took a drill and I touched each one of these screw holes. So as I lift up here, you'll see it. See all the screw holes? And I do that because even after I paint this whole thing black, I still want to be able to come back here and line up this template and any other templates that we might have with these screw holes. Now, some of these screw holes that have the exposed wood around them have exposed wood right where the black is, and we're working on the black layer, so I cover that. That's why there's only one right here. Oh, and don't forget the little end piece down here. This comes under that unique shape right there. So all the screw holes all the way around are touched. And one thing that I do, and as part of all these templates, is I make all these small little holes or circles that are oddly kind of shaped. And what they do is I use this for covering every single screw hole, including the trim, the fender that used to be here. Even though it's really not much, exposure-wise when you see it at the end product, but I still want these covered. And there's different sized versions of these, and each one just gets a tiny bit bigger. So right here will be exposed wood when I spray the black, and then I'm going to come back and I have another set of these that's part of these files that's a little bit larger, and I then take that and put it right onto the black layer over that hole, so that when I spray the white and I peel that back up, you see that black ring around the exposed wood hole. And same is true with the red. And we do that. I mean, here's a good example right here. So you've got exposed wood here. You've got the black ring around it. And then there's even a larger one that goes here that will be placed for when I spray the red. So as I remove each one, you'll end up with this exact effect. Now there's some, like this guy right here, that was a chip done after this whole guitar was painted. So I put one down right there, and I'm going to leave that, the entire painting of this body. So when I'm all done, I just peel that up and it's a nice clean exposed wood area, because that red is really tight on that wood. It was a definite chip or something that was taken right off of that. And there's a few of those on the red layer, and that's why I'm not covering some of these up. The ones around the pick guard, these were added after this guitar was red. So I'll just come back in with my Dremel, and I use a fine, I don't know what size this end is, but it's fairly small. And when I go up to the slightly, the very next size, I clean up the holes. So I'm not making them a whole bunch bigger, but I'm clearing it out so I can see bare wood. But this is a little, you can see I didn't go deep at all. So at this point, this top is basically done. And what I do is go ahead and draw some of these black lines. And I do that only to allow myself to know where I'm going to be adding some pieces of tape to block off the black. That's what it looks like with the exposed wood. So what I do is I draw in right here where some of these marks are. And I know the width of right there is about right there. I'll kind of line up the two holes, kind of very lightly give me an idea of where that is. And once I know where that part is, now I can come in here manually and do this. So I know that the whole area is kind of defined roughly inside of this area. Okay, so what I just did was I drew the boundaries here and here in this part, and then I drew where this colored from the faded to the full color goes. So now I can put this right here on the table underneath the guitar and have it stick out, and I can work on just this area. But first of all, we got to get this whole area first laid down. This is that long edge of the belly cut. And I want to mark where this little point is as a reference mark. And I'm going to do that by just putting a little mark right there, knowing that that's the tip.